I've had a really strong opinion on MVP for a long time, and it hasn't changed. I mean, as I say, we did this segment 2 weeks ago at this point, and everything is exactly the same in terms of how I feel about the market. And the craziest thing is everything's the same in terms of how all the players are being priced. And I don't understand whatsoever what's happening, and that's okay. Because I'm hoping that at some point in the next month, everything will turn in my favor in the next 2 months, and then we'll be sitting pretty, like holding a bunch of really valuable bets. I think Nikola Jokic not only should be the favorite to win most valuable player, I actually think he should be about even money right now. And he's 4-1, and he's not even close to even money. And this makes no sense to me. He completely regained all control of all advanced analytics from Luka Doncic. Jokic is number one in everything that matters, and he's actually number one by a lot. Not only that, Luka didn't play in the team's last game. They lost to the Thunder yesterday, and he is also probably not going to play in their next game. So it's like, what is really happening here? Jokic is by far the best player in the league in terms of regular season performance this year. He's number one, and then it's the Grand Canyon, and then it's Luka, and then another Grand Canyon, and then everyone else. Like, that's what's happening, and the market doesn't reflect that whatsoever. So it's not that other players can't win, but it's been the same thing for 3 weeks. Tatum's numbers aren't going to get better. They're just not. He's 11th in PER, 7th in win shares, 20th in win shares per 48. Tyrese Halliburton's a better MVP candidate using that number than Jason Tatum is. Like, it's just not even in the zip code. His path to winning is that everyone has to get brainwashed that he's Steve Nash. That's it. That's the only historical example that exists for Jason Tatum winning. That's it, and everything else is dead for him in terms of a path. It's just that. And he's 4-1, and he's like the same price as Jokic. Does that make any sense to anybody? Like, at all? Not that he can't win, but like that they have the same price? All of those other stats, Jokic first. What are we even talking about? Like, what? Not that it can't change. Well, first of all, it's very unlikely to change, but also, like, these prices aren't a reflection of what's actually happening in any of the games. They're just not. They're not a reflection of what's happening. And I think a lot of that's preseason expectation that Jokic was kind of like an afterthought because no one was going to want to vote for him. And I was guilty of it too. We talked ourselves into these really shiny new candidates that were going to like somehow win this award instead of him. And we get to this point in the season, we're about to be at the halfway point, and it's not even close. And I mean, not even remotely close. He's the best player, and his team is so much better than Luka's. It's not even close. And if that stays the same, then it's not an argument between the two of them. And if Luka's team can get so much better and win so many more games, that's the only time it actually becomes an argument. So, like, what to do? Get the hell out of Jokic until you have a reason to do otherwise. And by the way, that was the same advice December 20th and December 10th. And like every time that we've been doing this, be like, well, what about Giannis? Okay, they just lost by about 40 to the Hornets, and he had about 2 points. Is that the same as what Jokic is doing? He also took more games off. He's also more likely to take more games off. He's also way, way, way less likely to have as good of a record as Denver is if they do that. Cool, he can have the 40 and 20, but he's like, I don't even think he cares about winning MVP. I get no sense that that's true, and I think he's on to winning titles. So it's just like, we're in the same place, and I only go through that entire rant because Durant's hurt, and he was like the only ancillary player that was kind of making any sense that wasn't those two guys. And now he's not going to play for a month. His chances are probably zero. Joel Embiid's still missing games. His chances are almost certainly zero. So, okay, we've got like 4 guys priced the same, and we've got 2 guys right behind them who are now zeroed out because of injury, and everybody behind them has already been zero. So there's 4 guys that occupy 100% win probability. How do you distribute that 100? I think Jokic minimum gets 50, and I'm probably short. It's probably like 60 or 65. And Luka gets most of the rest. And Tatum gets like the 5% Steve Nash trick everybody into voting for him because they win so many games when he's not remotely the best player. And like, that's it. And that's all it is. And that's all it's going to be unless somebody gets hurt. So like, we could do this segment a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. It'll be the exact same. Just do the prices reflect like reality. And right now I don't think they do.
I love, by the way, and an incredible explanation there of Kevin Durant and like all like the repercussions in the betting market of the Kevin Durant injury. I do love, Ken, how like the Nets title futures will remain the same. So it's like the futures market is like smart in that regard. And also Kevin Durant is still plus 800 to be NBA MVP. And he's going to be at a minimum of 2 weeks.
And Jokic is 400. Like, think about that. If you're like, Ken, the market's smarter than you, look at the price for Jokic, look at the price for Durant. See you never. I don't want to hear that argument ever again. Like, it's not reality, which is great because it means you can bet into it. Like, that's the best part. It's just not reality. It's just not what's actually happening, which is great.
Is John Morant zero with the way how well the Grizzlies are playing right now, maybe being the number 1 seed in the Western Conference at the end of the year?
The problem is he's so far behind. If he was chasing Tatum or he was chasing Giannis, he would not be dead. He's chasing two guys who are impossible to catch at this point. That's the problem.